So in this video today, we are going to be talking about what are the best possible jobs to get out there that do not require a college education. This is typically a video I do here once a year on my channel, and it's usually a pretty popular one. And the reason why I like to do this video is because most people out there believe you need to get a college education in order to get a high-paying job. And while that is true in many cases, it's just not true in all cases. And so I think if you're somebody out there who has decided that, maybe college just isn't for you, or you just don't want to go into debt with a college education, these are jobs that you may want to consider. All right, so coming in at number one on my list is getting involved with skilled trades. Now, this is a field that has been frowned upon for many years, but honestly, guys, there is so much money to be made if you are interested in being a tradesman. So what exactly does this entail? Well, this could be, being a plumber, for example, or a carpenter, or a mason. And a lot of people say, oh, do these guys make a lot of money? The truth is, if you are a union tradesman, the amount of money that you can make is unbelievable. And these jobs often have excellent benefits and retirement options as well. So most of these skilled trades are going to be union jobs. For example, I was actually a union utility worker before I, jumped into my career as a YouTuber here, and we were in the IBEW, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and I was part of Local 236. So we were in a union, and that gave us additional protection, and we were paid a good amount of money based on what we were doing. And you do not need a college education in order to get an apprenticeship with one of these unions. All you're going to do is figure out what your local unions are for electrical workers or plumbers or pipe fitters or whatever it may be, and then you're going to look for apprenticeship opportunities. So for example, let's look at the electrical apprenticeship. With the IBEW, that is going to be a 5-year apprenticeship, and during those 5 years, you are getting paid and you are working, and then you just take classes at night. So after 5 years of that apprenticeship, you will be a journeyman electrician. Now, not only that, during those 5 years, you were actually making money while learning this trade for free. You don't pay any money in order to learn this skill through an apprenticeship. Now, just how much money can you make as a journeyman electrician, for example? Well, according to Indeed, the average pay for a journeyman electrician is now $27.83 per hour. Not to mention, as I said earlier, the benefits for these jobs are usually phenomenal, which includes, healthcare, retirement, and all of that good stuff. Now, the only downside, you are going to work your butt off. These are hard jobs where you're doing manual labor day in and day out, so it's not for everyone, but if you are looking to make good money and not get into debt with a college education, this is a great area to consider. And if you're looking to find opportunities, what you're going to do is type into Google apprenticeship opportunities in your state. So for me, it would be New York, or you could look for a local union and stop in or give them a call and ask them, what is the process for getting an apprenticeship? All right, guys, so coming in at number 2 on my list is getting a job in sales. Most of the time, you do not need any college education for this type of job because usually being a good salesperson is just a natural born ability. Now, there are some things you can do to improve your sales ability, but a lot of the times, guys, being a good salesperson just comes down to your natural ability of being an outgoing person, being charismatic and empathetic. Now, most people get started in sales by getting involved in car sales or even maybe phone sales for some of the major carriers out there like AT&T and Verizon. And oftentimes there's on-the-job training where they will teach you, the basics of what you need to know and show you how to be a good salesperson. And what you will find with most of these jobs is they are a commission-based sales environment. So what that means is that if you're doing a good job and you're selling a lot of the product, you're making more money. Now, some people thrive in a commission-based environment and other people just flounder because it's not for them and they're not good at being self-motivated. But there's a lot of people out there in sales with no college education making well over 6 figures per year. Now, the one downside to this job is that you often have to work long hours or you have to work weird hours. So for example, I was talking to a car salesman once and he told me he was making, some months $15,000, $20,000 per month, but he also told me that he basically lives at his job and works 60 to 70 hours per week. Now, if you're somebody who loves to work and you don't mind that type of environment, that could be a perfect fit for you. Or if you're involved in some kind of retail sales, like phone sales, for example, you may find that you're working when other people are not, because that's when they're shopping. So you may find you're working nights and weekends rather than working your traditional 9 to 5 type job. So if that's a deal breaker for you, maybe this type of sales isn't for you. Business to business type sales may be a more consistent schedule. But honestly, guys, getting into sales is one of the best opportunities out there that typically does not require any college education. All right, so number 3 on my list here is another one that usually makes the list every single year, and that is getting a job as a correctional officer. So a correctional officer is in charge of the security of prison facilities. So as I'm sure you can imagine, this isn't going to be the most glamorous job out there. It's likely going to be dangerous and confrontational. But if you are up for the challenge, this is a field that does pay a good amount that does not require a college education. Part of your job here is going to be preventing prison escapes, breaking up riots, and then also searching inmate cells for contraband. So again, this is not a job I would be very good at. Most people would probably say, I don't want to do this. But if you are somebody who says, you know what, I'm up for the challenge, it does pay very well. According to salary.com, the salary range for a correctional officer is about $40,000 to $51,000 per year. But if you do already have a college degree, you may start out at a higher base pay based on whatever college education that you have. Now, you do have a couple of options here. You could work for a private prison, or if you want to work for the public sector, you're going to have to take the correctional officer exam to work for a public prison. So if you are interested in pursuing this field, all you have to do to look for employment opportunities is Google correctional officer exam in your state. So for me, it would be correctional officer exam in New York, and that will show you what the process is for finding and taking this exam. All right, guys, so number 4 on the list is going to be very similar to number 3, and that is to be a police officer. Now, in order to become a cop or a police officer, you don't actually have to get a college education. The criminal justice degree could help you get a higher paying job or have priority over a different candidate, but it's not a prerequisite. Because instead of going to a traditional college, you are instead going to go to a state or local police academy in order to get your certification and your education to be a cop. Now, according to payscale.com, the average police officer is now making about $51,000 per year, and if you are interested in getting a job in this field, you are going to have to complete a police exam. So if you're interested in this, what you're going to do is go into Google and type in your state followed by police exam, and you can learn about the process for taking that exam. All right, so number 5 on my list here is my old job, which, as I said earlier, was being a utility worker. And this basically means working for the power utility in your area. And I'm going to put this in a different category than skilled trades because it is totally different in terms of the work that you are doing. So the entry-level jobs working for a power utility are oftentimes collections or being a flagger. So that's how I got started, was getting into collections, which meant I went door to door and I collected money for the power utility. Because most people do pay their bills on time, but a certain percentage of people do not. And after a time period goes by, you have to go to the door, ask for payment, and if they're unable to pay their bill, you have to turn off the power or the gas to that building. So is this a glamorous job? Absolutely not. It is confrontational. At times it may be dangerous, but it's a way to get your foot in the door. And the other job that often goes to the street is a job as a flagger. And essentially what that means is that while the line crews or the gas crews are working in the roads, you're going to be in the road directing traffic as a flagger. So you'll be standing on your feet 5 or 6 hours a day directing traffic. Again, not the most glamorous job, but it's how you get your foot in the door with these companies. So oftentimes what they'll do, they'll put those jobs out to the street as temporary employment, and then once that job period ends where they need you for, they look to hire you as a full-time employee. And that is how I got hired for my local power utility, which is National Grid. Now, I had a 2-year degree in electrical construction and maintenance, which did help me get the job, but you don't have to have a college degree to work there. I was able to get one of my friends a job there, and he didn't have any college degree. However, it did take him about 1 year of applying applying for jobs in order to get a job with this company. So it may take a long time, but it's well worth it if you can get in there. Back when I got this job in 2015, my base pay was $27.20 per hour. And now entry-level pay for this company is above $30 per hour. So especially if it's a union utility, you can make a lot of money with these jobs. So what you're going to want to do is take out your electrical bill, look at who your utility provider is, type that into Google followed by the word careers, and that will show you what job opportunities are available. And I would recommend checking back every couple of weeks and just consistently applying for jobs at this utility. All right, guys, so number 6 on my list is getting a job as a postal worker. And it's funny because here I am making this video today, and this actually showed up in my mailbox. They're actually sending around flyers looking for people for the Postal Service. So right on this flyer, for example, it tells us the Rural Carrier Associate, RCA, $18.19 per hour. Does not require any college education. Now, a good time to look for employment with UPS, USPS, FedEx is going to be around the holiday season because that is when there is the most demand on the postal systems. So they oftentimes hire temporary employees for the holidays. But again, what you will often find is that they will take the best employees and oftentimes give them the opportunity for full-time employment at the end of the season. Now, if you want to work for the USPS, since this is a public sector job, you have to complete something called the 473 postal exam. And there are practice tests online and different resources available, but what you want to do if you're looking for that job is type in the 473 postal exam followed by your state, and that will give you more information on that. Or if you're looking for, UPS, FedEx, you would just go on their website and look for the careers section. UPS and FedEx may have their own exam or process, but it's different than USPS because that's private sector and not a public sector job. All right, guys, so the last one on my list here, number 7, is getting a job as a truck driver. Now, again, is this the most glamorous job out there? Some people would say yes, and some people would say no. If you like being by yourself and you don't mind the long hours and traveling all of the time, you may love the job as a truck driver. But if you want to settle down and have a family, it's probably not going to be the field for you. But because it is kind of a demanding job with unique requirements, it does pay a good amount of money. So the first step to get a job as a truck driver is you need your CDL or commercial driver's license. And before you get that, you need to get your permit. So what you're going to do is contact your local DMV and ask them what the process is to get a commercial driver's permit. Then you're going to have to go to truck driver school, and that is where they're going to teach you how to drive commercial vehicles so you can get your CDL. Now, truck driver school is going to cost around $3,000 to $7,000 on average. However, once you have your CDL, you can apply for a variety of different jobs out there. And just to circle back to number 5 here, if you're looking to get a job as a utility worker, a lot of those jobs do actually require a CDL. So it is a good license to have under your belt, and it can open you up to other job opportunities out there. So once you have your CDL, you're going to want to check with some of the big hauling companies out there like Swift, Schneider, and JB Hunt for different job opportunities. Now, just how much can you make as a truck driver? Well, according to Indeed, the average truck driver makes $1,097 per week, which translates to just about $57,000 per year with no college education. All you need to have is that truck driving school and that CDL under your belt. So anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Those are 7 jobs out there that are high paying that do not require a college education. If anybody is currently working in any of these fields, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what your experience is, if you would recommend that job to other people, or if you would not recommend it. That kind of feedback is always very beneficial. But thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Drop a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in the next video.